Hello, my name is Lionel, also known as Mixed by Lionel on my social media. I'm an audio engineer, music producer, and today I kind of wanted to show you something a little bit out of the ordinary for me. I wanted to show you guys a plugin that caught my attention the other day. So I was making a track for a buddy of mine, and I knew I wanted a bass sound that was airy and wide and kind of filled up the whole stereo image. And despite me trying with Serum and a couple of other synths that I have in my library, nothing was quite like hitting the spot. And I was scrolling on Instagram and I came up across this small company called Soda Music. And I was like, hey, look, they have a synth. I might as well try it, see how far I can get with it, and see if my problem can finally be solved, because I had been working on it for a while. So I opened it, tried it out. And when I first opened it, the first thing that hit me was like, whoa, there's 4 oscillators. They're kind of like both turned on independently. They're like a duo. I was like, wait, what's going on here? Like, it seemed very interesting for me. I knew there was a wide range of possibility in that sense. Basically, it ended up working. And when I was done, I was like, I have to show someone. So now I'm showing you. So like I said, unlike a lot of synths that you can kind of find out that it has 4 oscillators. So it might be a little bit confusing at first. But it opens so many doors, and it opens so much room for possibility. And you also have LFOs for the filter, as well as an LFO that's a modulation LFO. So you have those two kind of working hand in hand. And if you're into sound design, if you're into film or anything like that, video games and stuff like that, this is a really cool way to go as well, just because you have that many options. So kind of diving into a little bit about the actual plugin and kind of going from left to right and down. I'm going to walk you through what they do. It's going to be very simple in terms of getting on board, using it for the first time, messing around with it. Just have fun, play with it. You'll get the hang of it, and you'll make some really cool sounds with it. So from left to right, we're going to start. We have the basic ADSR. It controls everything that you need. So your attack, your decay, your sustain, and your release, you have it all there. You can change it. You can move it to whatever suits you best in any scenario. Right next to it, we're going to have our filter. And then to the right of that, you have your filter LFO. And then here you have 2 knobs. You have your intensity knob and you have your frequency knob. So your intensity knob is basically saying the depth that the low frequency oscillator is reaching. To the right of that, you have your frequency. Now, this is the frequency that I was saying should not be mistaken with the filter frequency. This frequency is telling you how often that wave is happening. So you can kind of think about it as BPM if you wanted to, and kind of how fast the BPM is happening in this LFO. I guess that's one way to look at it. You can also turn it on and off and control. You have up to 5 options. You have your sine wave, your triangle, your saw, your square, and your random wave. Now, the random wave is a really, really cool one that I used a little bit when I was doing some sound design for a video game the other day. So really, really cool stuff there. Underneath that, you have another LFO, and you're like, hey, why 2 LFOs? Well, this one's a modulation LFO. Like the other one, you can turn it on and off, and you have a mono button as well. You can turn it from mono to stereo. And then you have your same 5 options that you did before in terms of the waveform. Now, this is where the cool part comes in. You have a unison knob. So instead of typically you might have to do voices, pick your voices and go from there. This one just has the one unison knob you can just turn up. You have your detune, which is going to give it that effect that you hear on a lot of electronic tracks, on the leads and stuff like that. So just a slight detune might be cool. Or if you want to turn it up all the way, you're going to get a really cool noisy type of sound. Also works a lot for a lot of cool sound design. Then we have glide, we have spread, which kind of opens the stereo image kind of like everywhere. It puts it everywhere across you, like you hear almost behind you, which is a really cool effect. And in the bass sound that I was going to show you guys as well, I use a lot of this spread to give it that wide, airy feel that I wanted. Here you also have that frequency, which is the same frequency as the LFO, which is basically just telling you BPM, if you want to think about it that way. And then next to it, you have your intensity knob, which, like I said, is just how the depth of it, or really how noticeable it's going to be. So underneath it, you're going to have your 2 oscillators. When you first open this up, you're going to see that they're both linked. So 1 and 2 are linked. You're going to have the same 5 options for your waveforms there. And what's cool about it is you have an octave knob that kind of turns up really, really high and really, really low. So whatever you're looking for, you're going to get it here. Another detune knob and a mix, which is going to mix the one oscillator with the other oscillator. You're going to have your pan knob as well, which you can move left to right. And your PWM, you're going to have 1 and you're going to have 2 of these knobs on both oscillators, so you're going to be able to move those around. Then if we were to click on oscillator 3 and 4, it's the same concept, it just gives you more sounds you can create here. And you can always turn on the fourth one and maybe not 3 and 4, or leave 3 and 4 and maybe turn off 4, and then so on and so forth, you have your stuff. This is another cool part of the plugin, is the fact that you have an effects kind of rack built in. So you have your distortion, reverb, EQ, and delay already built in here. So of course you can use your preferred plugin in the future, but if you really just wanted to kind of get the sound straight out of the synth, or maybe wanted to try it out before you went with something that's another VST that you might have, you have it all here. You have your distortion knobs, you can do reduction, so we're talking about bit reduction, and your gain and your mix. Then your reverb, you have two knobs, really simple. It's your big, which is how big the room is, and your dry and wet. So you're gonna have that. And then next to it, you have a EQ, which is a really cool EQ because you have a built-in high-pass filter. And if there's one thing I know about musicians, is we love to use that high-pass filter. And then we're gonna get a bell in the mids, and we're gonna get a high shelf as well. So if you want to boost those highs or lower those highs, you have that available to you as well. On the delay, we have a left delay and right delay. We're talking about the speakers here, where you want each delay to happen. Maybe if you want more on the right, maybe more on the left, you can have that. If you want to have more feedback on the left or the right, you can do that on the knobs underneath. And then finally, just a mix knob that's going to kind of allow you to choose how much of this delay you want on the actual sound. So now I wanted to go ahead and run you guys through some of the work that I did with this synth. Just last night, I just was working on some stuff. It came up that I should use this, and I wanted to show you guys a little bit about what that was. Both of these tracks are electronic tracks. Just happen to be working on electronic stuff, but it works for a wide range of music and genres in terms of film and whatever you might be using this for. There's so many ways you can be using this. So I'm going to put the examples now. I'm going to show you guys what it sounded like before the synth and then after the synth, and I'm going to show you guys those two tracks, and that'll happen now. Now at the end here, I'm just going to have one note playing. It's going to be playing all the way through, and I'm going to give you guys the chance to kind of hear what these knobs do and how they work. Let you guys imagine yourself playing with it, and then playing with it if you want, you know? So I'll give you guys that now.